Everybody here appreciates it. And without further ado, the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 76 years ago, a young, honorable man from Atlanta, Georgia, emerged out of the crowd and delivered his very first speech at the Church of Dublin. At just the age of 14, he had already talked about black people in the United States Constitution. At just the age of 14, he had already insisted on better health care and a better education for the African American community. At just the age of 14, he was already orating about the importance of the golden rule, which is treat others in which the way you wish to be treated. Unbeknownst to the audience and to the world that this man, born by the name of Michael Luther King Jr., but known to us as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., would become one of the most powerful and influential civil rights leaders to ever sacrifice his life for the greater good of society, for issues so powerful and so far-reaching that they still hold relevance to this day. Issues like equality, fair treatment of others, friendship, racism, hatred, bigotry, kindness, brotherhood. I quote from Dr. King himself, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." And I tell you this, these issues do still matter. These issues continue to press and claw and connive their way into the backbone of our society, and it's up to us to confront these issues head-on and with full force. Since the beginning of the United States of America, minorities have faced aspects of oppression, of bigotry, hatred. This stems from issues such as Plessy versus Ferguson, where we are taught to stay within our lane, the lane that represents boundaries of containment. And if you exit these boundaries, you will endure suffering to no end. Well, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Coretta Scott King, Frederick Douglass, and many more all exited these lanes and fought for a new lane, a lane where all are free to drive down, a lane that leads to the true freedom of the United States of America. And I intend to drive down this lane with my eyes wide open and be susceptible to the necessity of change, because it is more necessary now than it ever was. Since my time at Central Michigan University, I have become an avid supporter of the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, whose goal is to, I quote, secure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights in order to eliminate race-based discrimination and ensure the health and well-being of all persons. This organization raises funds so that kids in need have the right to a proper education. It provides internships to students who wish to enter the workforce but are turned down by the concept of economic inequality. It aims to reduce barriers of employment so that those formerly incarcerated will not live to be defined by the mistakes that they formerly made. It is the right of all people to secure a proper education and live in a society that supports diversity, change, and equality. The NAACP is fighting for those who may not have a voice, for those whose voice cannot be heard because they lack the resources to properly speak their mind, for those who must resort back to poverty and back to violence and destruction because they are viewed as castaways, as inferior beings who, if only were given the chance and the resources, could allow their voice to finally be heard. Although the efforts of the NAACP have proved monumental in reshaping the harsh nature of our society, still, it's not enough. We must ask ourselves, why? Why are the courageous acts of an organization working so desperately hard to stop oppression not enough? We must look deep within ourselves for the answer. Ask ourselves, why do we carry the weight of prejudice and hatred upon our shoulders? Why do we so naturally speak before we listen? Why do we view a group of people as inferior when we all live upon the same earth, the same soil? We're all here in this same building. We drink the same water. We experience the same weather. Well, here's why. We must create peace and vulnerability within ourselves before we can do it anywhere else. We must change our acquired traits of racism and homophobia and hatred into traits of love, empathy, kindness, and compassion. The only way we can change the world that we live in today is to change who we are on the inside. Change in society begins with change in ourselves. I repeat, change in society begins with change in ourselves. I attended the 2019 Leadership Connections Conference because I wanted to change who I was as a person. I wanted to become a more exceptional leader and learn about emotional intelligence and guidance and many other aspects of leadership. I attended Central Michigan's Impact in Safari program because I wanted to educate myself on the true meaning of culture and diversity. By surrounding myself around people of different backgrounds, I realized that everyone is ingenious in their own way. All of our differences combine to form the community in which we live in today. I'm an active participant in Men About Change, a group devoted to providing emotional therapy and critical thinking and guidance about issues that impact our society today. Issues like the ones we're standing here for today. I participated in Justice League and Media More Records and the National Association of Black Accountants because I want to acquire the necessary life skills that this society and this community has to offer. I want to take what I've learned and give back to my community. But not just my community in Mount Pleasant, but not just my community around Central Michigan University, but my community around Mount Pleasant, but not just around Mount Pleasant, but around Cincinnati, and around Chicago, and around Detroit as well, and around the entire country, because why? I am a citizen of the United States of America, and I do not want to just be a part of the United States of America, I want to live in the United States of America. So they ask me why I fight. I fight because I'm a young, intelligent African American who will not let anyone treat me as a means to their own end. I am fighting because Dr. King's quote, "Non-cooperation with evil is as much of a moral obligation as cooperation with good," still holds true to this day. I will fight to earn my degree in entrepreneurship so I can create my own jobs and employ all the sons, the daughters, mothers, fathers affected by the criminal justice system in our society today. No man should be denied a job because of a non-violent offense. And the look on their face when they have to check I'm a felony on that job application. I will fight to create my own jobs to combat this evil. I will fight to make myself successful so I can give back to those who have helped put me in the position I am in today. I will fight for every poor and underprivileged child who does not have the resources to receive a proper education. Mark my words, I will fight for everything that I am standing for because Dr. Martin Luther King had to fight through bombs going off on his patio, on his neighbor's patio, at his neighborhood churches, but he still rose to the occasion to fight for the Montgomery bus boycott. So for his legacy, I will fight. He did not stay in silence about issues that plagued our nation today. And neither will I. Because if we stay in silence, we stay in violence. We are the generation to get to the mountaintop and see the promised land that Dr. King so desperately wished to achieve. We are living in the land that civil rights leaders dreamed about. But still, we have not achieved total justice. It is up to us to continue on the path our great leaders have carved for us. We are all a part of society. We created it, and we can destroy it. We must come together and make a change. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." We will not become silent, because if we stay in silence, we stay in violence. We are the generation that will learn to model the way of our knowledge, the way in which we live, the way in which we want to live, and the way in which we want to succeed. We are the generation that will model the way. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.